40 going on 14, episode 1. Hello and welcome to 40 going on 14. We are here for our inaugural edition of the show. This is the first one out, and today we are going to be introducing ourselves and then doing a little comparison between the two Conan movies, Conan 2011 and then 1982.
Yes.
82?
Yeah.
4.
In 1982, yeah.
Wow. I was 10.
Yeah, that was the year my wife was born.
Oh, God. So, before we get into the movie, let's
Conan too.
let's introduce ourselves. I'm Mike. I'm the Java Cat Online, and I am a lifelong gamer and videophile, audiophile, moviephile, and just all around as the end the decade, I guess. I don't know. I'm a geek. Josh?
I'm Josh, known as Doc Stout online. I'm a blogger and a professional geek. Basically, if you were to take the comic book store guy from The Simpsons and cross him with the most interesting man in the world, you'd pretty much have me. More
Worst
comic
introduction ever.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for covering that for me while I was drinking.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And that's Josh now. Joel.
Yes, sir. My name's Joel. You probably have heard of me online, perhaps, as Joel Unitard Show. I have a long-time podcaster. I have 2 ongoing weekly podcasts. I'm also a blogger, a joker, a smoker, a midnight toker, and I play my music in the sun.
That was worse.
Yeah, it was.
That was terrible.
Speaking of toker.
I don't do any of those other things.
Is that my intro? I
Yeah,
guess.
Pat.
Yeah, I think that's
that means you now.
Yeah. I'm Patrick. I have pretty much no internet, I guess, face unless you own a porn site or a weed-based site.
We had to tell him how to download Skype.
Yeah, I'm not very good at any of this stuff. My insight is basically going to be like random trivia, anything movie or music related, and a lot of TV shows and anything pretty much useless.
Old man yells at cloud, basically.
We had to actually inform Pat that they have the internet on computers now because he was not aware.
He was at the library trying to find it.
He was looking it up and
computers now.
yeah, he was looking up in the Dewey Decimal System.
Got to be in here somewhere.
Internet.
This show, we all had the fortune and or misfortune to watch Conan the Barbarian, the original 1982 version with Arnold Schwarzenegger and what's his name? James Earl Jones, paging the sporting the page boy cut.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget Max von Sydow.
Yeah, well, he carried the whole show for me.
Why did every villain have the page boy cut? Like everybody's walking around looking like Betty Page with weapons on the evil side.
That was kind of weird, except for the guy, the 2 sidekicks for the villain that looked like the Allman Brothers.
Right.
They had the bangs too, though. I noticed.
They did.
I know when I think of Prince Valiant, the first name that comes to mind is James Earl Jones. Really?
Honestly, they were going to reboot the whole comic on with James Earl Jones as the main character.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
All right, so which one do you want to start with? You want to start with 82, since it seems like we're rolling into that?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Chronologically, we should start with that.
I paused the movie to see how long it took, how much more time I had left, 7 times.
Okay, yeah, pacing it had some definitely 80s issues there.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 2-hour and 10-minute movie. Incidentally, directed by John Milius, who directed Red Dawn, which most people are probably familiar with.
Also written by Oliver Stone, co-wrote by Oliver Stone, I mean. And that really, honestly, explained the length of it to me.
Well, that also explained the conspiracy theory about JFK in the middle.
You must have got the director's cut, because I didn't have that.
It was a little...
All I saw was I saw a watermelon fall off post, and that was about it.
I gotta admit, starting to watch the 1982 version, the first half hour, I was thinking, wow, this really isn't holding up. It's kind of boring and dumb. And by the end, I was actually kind of sold on the way they put the whole thing together.
I think the setup in the 82 one was more like a epic fantasy.
Yes.
Well,
There was a lot of open, spreading landscapes, seeing them riding, seeing them running through they're running, let's run through a field. Okay, we come to this city, we hang out there for 40 seconds, and let's run through a field again.
Well,
and there was a lot of that transition.
One of the things I really liked about the original Conan versus the other one is it felt a lot more like I was, like if I was playing an actual Dungeons & Dragons game, it would go a lot more like the first movie than the second movie, definitely. You know, because it felt more like okay, you're on a journey, you're going here. Okay, what do you do next? You go to this place, you see this, you do that, blah blah blah.
I want to do that chick.
Exactly. Tell her I want to do her.
And
Okay, speaking of which, okay, wait, no, jump. Let's just before we get to the I want to do her part,
Because we're getting there.
Young Conan, 1982, was a bit of a pussy.
a little bit. I mean, he was a little kid.
I mean, but he aren't okay. Pat, you're the Conan the Barbarian encyclopedia for us.
Mhm.
Weren't the Sumerians supposed to be like warrior folk?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, then why did they get their asses kicked so quick in the 82 version? It just seemed like they were just like a bunch of farmers standing out in the middle of a field.
Yeah, I think the story behind that was they were actually supposed to be like an outpost of the Sumerian tribes, and that's why they were the first ones to get whacked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that versus a big city.
Right, exactly.
I see.
That's why they only had pretty much like his father was the only warrior in that village, and everybody else was just farming, and so that was the explanation for that. So.
To be fair, if every scene had taken about as long as it should have, the movie would have been 16 hours.
And,
That is true.
And it would have been directed by Oliver Stone as well.
Right.
Yes. You think that's bad? The director's cut, that's 38 hours long. Okay, so I'll cross off my note here that Sumerians are pussies.
Now, I will say the difference between the two, parents dying and between the two movies, I felt it a lot more in the first, like the emotional connection of him losing his mother a lot more in the first one than in the remake. Just the fact that he was standing there and he watched it happen and everything.
It gave him a little bit more heart, and it made more sense later on with his treatment towards women because he didn't really have that mother figure growing up.
Right.
I give it a little bit more towards him because he actually saw his mom get killed, like you said, versus in the 2011 version where he was born and she died.
Right, exactly.
Spouting cliches and blood.
Yes.
Incidentally, I think that the original leaned more towards the way the comic was at the time, because isn't that what it's based on?
Well, and before the comic series, it was a series of short stories by Robert E. Howard.
Well, see, and I could see that making more sense with the pacing and the way it's laid out in the movie. It felt more like a comic book whereas the new one felt more like a music video, or something like that.
Those original short stories, they weren't things that you're going to find in the New Yorker. They were strange tales in the pulp era. Howard was a contemporary of H.P. Lovecraft, and he wrote those kind of pulp action stories.
See, all of our nerd is already showing in different ways. I love it.
I have to say, what was James Earl Jones' character's name?
Thulsa Doom.
Yep.
Thulsa Doom. When he came off the horse, picked up his father's sword, they did that slow motion, like almost come hither look when he looked over his shoulder at Conan's mom. I was conflicted. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen because I don't remember the movie, but I'm kind of turned on at the same time.
Why do you think
the
he got
hair
the guard?
flowing? Oh yeah. I mean, oh wow, he's giving me that look,
Exactly.
Or that, and after they roped up baby Conan, when they were leading him up that hill and they all were like strung together, I paused it and I'm looking at this and it's like they just had like that rope over his shoulder. All the kids.
He was very obedient.
Yeah, I'm like, just throw that rope. You're supposed to be Conan, man. Throw that rope off your shoulder and go run away or something. I was expecting a little bit more.
By the way, when you said James Earl Jones' character's name, I thought, man, that'd be an awesome name for a condiment. Salsa Doom. I don't know. That'd keep you on the shitter for weeks.
Like, Salsa Doom. That may be out there already.
With James Earl Jones narrating the commercial.
I would buy salsa with James Earl Jones' face on the jar. I'm just saying that right now. All right. So, what about the growing into Big Conan?
He basically walked in a circle for 20 years.
I'm amazed he had any upper body.
That's what I was thinking. Like when I was watching this time, his definition is amazing for only doing one activity for 20 years.
I was expecting just like these huge thighs and like Poindexter up top.
He should be like all forearms and calves.
Well, then he would have been like a Tyrannosaurus running around.
I would watch that.
But as the years went on, fewer and fewer other people were pushing the thing in a circle. So my theory is he was actually eating them.
That's true.
With some salsa doom.
Yes.
Yeah, Salsa Doom came by. Hey, you're small. Get in the chip bowl. It's
You know the noise he makes when he eats somebody?
Yeah, I have that note down here is that he does not scream well. When they just pushed him in that arena at the very beginning, and of course you have this guy who spent the last 25 years walking in a circle. You throw him in an arena with a guy who has his teeth sharpened. I don't think it's a real balanced fight.
No.
to start out with.
He just pushes him around in a circle until he gets dizzy and falls down. I win.
Whatever you do, don't pick your arms up. If he gets your arms like that, you're done for. So what do you think about the transition between, becoming a circle walker and becoming a warrior?
Happened awfully quick. Like, he had one lesson with the Asian guy, and then he was suddenly a Swordmaster.
And the Asian guy who
Just randomly kicks the guy he's studying with.
yes,
How dare you laugh at someone else in my class?
that guy wasn't even doing anything, and he roundhouse kicks him to the stomach. So, Josh, what do you think, man? Transition from circle walker to warrior. Was there anything?
I loved the hilarious 1980s samurai headband posing with a katana for no reason. It so perfectly showed you what year it was, because this is right before the national obsession with ninja and samurai, and it's like, okay, this guy's a badass, so put him near an Asian dude and have him doing things that look vaguely Asian. That way everyone will know he's cool.
Yes, and all he had him doing was holding the sword out. It's like, I don't know how he was messing that up. Hold the sword out. No, whack, whack. And you. Quick, yes, you with the copper bowl on your head.
Quick, pose for the 8x10 lobby card for the theater.
All right, so then they break him loose, and he immediately becomes hunted by dogs.
Oh, that's what happens, right?
Why'd they break him loose again?
I don't know. He seemed to be doing really well, and suddenly the redhead decided that he was going to let him go.
He had a drunken fury, it looked like.
Something like, you're too good of an investment. I need to let you go.
Yeah, exactly. I made too many millions off you. You must leave.
You're winning too many fights. I'm too rich. Curse you.
I got a 5-year-old walking around in a circle right now who's going to take your place.
He's training.
So then he breaks loose, falls in the hole. He finds a sword surrounded by the crunchy candy shell.
It automatically assumes that guy is Crom.
Well, once the helmet falls off, he assumes it.
Yeah.
Before then, he had no idea. It's like, when Clark Kent goes
him.
into the phone booth, you don't recognize him with the glasses, but the helmet falls off. Oh, it's Superman.
That was Crom's phone booth then?
Right.
They got him when he was changing, huh?
Yep. He should have checked for quarters under his seat. Sorry, Pat. What were you saying?
Wow, nothing. Nothing as amazing as that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
So that was another thing. When he finds that sword, and he just sort of taps it on the ground a couple times, and all this stuff falls off, and he's got this this perfectly battle ready sword.
Well, it's kind of like
out of there.
Going back to the whole Superman thing. It's kind of like Superman squeezes the coal, and suddenly his diamond is perfectly cut.
So if he goes around and squeezes a rock, he'll get a sword.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Well,
you just bang the sword a couple times, and look, it's polished.
Yeah, I'll buy it. Then he travels, and first thing he meets is the only prostitute anywhere. He walks by one house. Go ahead, Josh.
Before we get to the demon hooker, I want to talk a little bit more about the sword, because the thing about this movie is there's a whole lot of showing without explaining anything. Which, when we talk about the later one, it's kind of the 2011 has the opposite problem. It's too much explaining without showing anything you care about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that sword was the Atlantean sword that Conan wielded for most of his career in the stories. But it's like, how do you know that that's an Atlantean sword? Well, you look at Wikipedia, I suppose.
1982 people walking out of the theater. Man, I wish there was some Wikipedia thing we can go look up what kind of sword that was. So and that's you looked that up. You looked that one up then to.
No, I believe Josh is well versed. I think he's read the stories.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Howard.
Well, then, Pat, your title of Conan Librarian has been rescinded.
Crom, you've been dethroned.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You have the poster. I figured you at least read
That's because
one
he loves
of them.
Arnold.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Did you just
less
call me
about
Conan the Librarian?
You are Conan.
You are tonight.
Conan the Librarian.
I guess so.
You are a Conan Librarian. But yes, okay, so we have the sword, then now we know it's Atlantean, and this is the one that you said he carries around for most of his career then?
Yeah, I think he mostly stands around posing for Iron Maiden covers, but...
Well, you got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
So then you want a Demon Hooker.
Demon Hooker.
Only house anywhere.
Yeah. So.
And I'm going to say worst pillow talk ever. When somebody starts reciting a spell in the middle of it, leave.
Well, I think my clue would have been when the room turned blue.
I just thought that was ambiance.
Zombiance? What?
Not zombiance, ambiance.
Ambiance. Oh, yeah.
I'm just imagining like a whole bunch of zombies standing around in different colored lights.
Wow, that really had some
like,
nice
They're
ambiance.
moaning like Barry White songs at you.
Sorry.
So, no.
I just like how he throws her in the fire, and then it's this giant back part of the fireplace where she can like literally stand up and like scream at him before she perishes.
My absolute favorite part of that whole scene is the fact that she goes off in a ball of lightning, laughing hysterically and maniacally, and he just goes, "Well, what should I do? I guess I'll just sleep here tonight."
Yeah.
He's not coming back.
Yeah,
I
like,
have to
I'm
say,
sure
I
it's
was
fine to sleep
surprised
here.
that he
Lock the door when you
This
leave.
place seems safe.
He wakes up the next
Um,
morning, makes himself a Pop-Tart, and then leaves.
Finds the one guy sitting out front.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
Which you think his first question would have been, "Why didn't you say something?"
Right.
This whole night
You were
just
sitting
listening to me and listening to me have sex with this demon, and she flies off, and you just never say a word.
I was waiting for the wolves to come.
I was too hungry.
I didn't wake up until I smelled the Pop-Tarts.
Sorry, I didn't want to
So-
ruin the ambiance.
Looking at this,
Gonna be
year
millionaires.
1983.
82.
No,
82.
no, I know, but this is in '83 when this happened. It won a Golden Globe.
What, her boobs?
New Star of the Year in a Motion Picture, Sandal Bergman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
the demon hooker?
No.
No.
That is
that-
the demon hook. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the big tall blonde.
That's
Oh.
Valeria.
Yeah, Valeria.
Yeah, so she won that, and then ironically, Arnold Schwarzenegger won a Razzie Award for 1983 for the worst actor of the year.
Well, this was technically his second movie, actually. I mean, his second real movie after Hercules in New York. So he wasn't
Yeah,
exactly as polished as he is now.
He didn't have such a grasp of the English language as he did in this one. I was also looking up some trivia on this one, and apparently Schwarzenegger and, let's see, what was her real name?
Sandal Bergman.
Sandal Bergman were the only ones that had to do their own stunts because they could not find body doubles that looked like them.
Huh.
Yeah, they weren't looking very hard.
Which, well, I don't know. I mean, back then, also, I'm looking at some of the other things that they have here on IMDb, and that Conan Schwarzenegger actually had to stop working out in order to be able to wield the sword. He had to tone down his workout because his arm and chest muscles were so big that he couldn't handle the sword properly.
I have that same problem.
Yes, and the Swordmaster, I'm going to hack up this name, Kiyosho Yamazaki, was the Swordmaster for the actors in the film, and they actually had him play the smack around the face, kick you in the chest guy. So that was actually the guy who taught them how to use the swords in the film.
Oh, so that wasn't like they weren't filming a training sequence or a movie sequence. That was actually a training.
That actually might have been a training
Yeah.
sequence,
Right.
yeah.
That was a stuntman got kicked right in the chest.
So I'm looking at some of these. Have any of you guys looked at the trivia on this one?
No.
No.
This is my favorite one. The fake blood used in the film came in the form of a concentrate, which then had to be mixed with water. Due to the cold weather they were filming in, they mix it with vodka to keep it from freezing. And in the scenes where the actors were supposed to spit the blood, they would swallow it instead, and then wind up going back to special effects for more.
Nice.
So chances are half the crew, half the actors were probably pretty buzzed while this was going on.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
makeup in the later invasion scene.
Right.
That amazing
It's like-
camouflage. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, it looked like they were invading an 80s Neo club.
dude, I'm a member of the G.I. Joe. This is
I
how
thought
they
were
do it.
invading. I thought they were invading Felix the Cat's house. We gotta be in all black and white.
I thought they were trying out
So-
for American Gladiators.
Hands down, best part of the movie, when Schwarzenegger punches out a camel.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That is.
That
I actually like
I don't-
when he passes out in his gruel too. That one was funny.
that one was a good one too. I like that. His face right before he went down was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Going on with the transition where they're going from city to city, I also think I saw in one movement from one city to another, it looked like Jabba's palace. There was a scene. I looked up there. I actually wrote that down. Jabba's
Wookiee.
palace.
When he actually first meets Subutai, you see in the 82 version, he does this a lot. It's like Conan meets somebody, and he's kind of a dick to them. And if they laugh, now we're friends.
Yeah.
That's how we all got together.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
And then we just continued being dicks to each other. That's all.
And that's also when he met Meko the Wizard, the guy who was narrating. Was the this area is haunted by demons, and they stare down.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, Conan laughs, and Mako very very intelligently starts laughing with him. Now they're big buddies.
best
I
friends.
agree with you on that. Now we're moving across the. Is there anything else you guys noticed in the movie that stood out to you before we get to the big battle hour?
I do just want to acknowledge that this and strangely enough, Stripes were the two first movies I ever saw boobies in. That was
Really?
actually a very pivotal moment in my life.
You hadn't noticed them until then?
I hadn't seen them until then.
And a movie he's talking about.
Yeah, in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea that people could be naked on a movie screen, and I was like, oh, I'm for this.
Yeah. I'm for this.
Yeah.
Normally, I just have to sneak into my sister's room.
Exactly. What?
Wait, what?
Nothing. We'll,
So it's
Edit
pretty
that
much
out.
I'll edit.
Stripes, Conan, then Backdoor Sluts 9.
Man, Don't
Yeah.
ever try drugs, Pat.
I just had to go with what was in my dad's dresser drawer.
Marijuana, heroin, crack.
Why would your dad keep a copy of Stripes in his dresser drawer?
Hey, you know what?
He
I
really
don't
loved
question.
Bill Murray.
All right. And then we have the hippies
Yeah.
wandering around,
Yeah.
which I think was one of the best lines in the whole movie when he gets that one priest to follow him off.
Yeah.
I'm shy and I'm afraid, and then clobbers him.
He's a, can we go over there and talk when no one can see us?
I'm shy.
Let's not
Let's
forget
go.
the spectacular mechanical snake that he fights in the Tower of the Serpent.
This is your guard snake, and it's like the slowest thing in the world to respond to any invaders at all. They're like almost out the door before this thing even moves. Like,
Well, it didn't even wake up until Conan dripped sweat on his head.
yeah, I mean, it was like the most ineffectual guard animal I've ever seen.
But the quietest battle.
That's true, because no one above heard anything going on, and they were only like 10 feet away.
And then they drop the girl down there. She starts to scream.
It's like watching this movie just reinforced my latest thoughts that I really want to start a cult, because I think I can do it.
Start with the beard.
I got it.
Okay.
Because if that guy can talk that girl into falling into a snake pit with just the looks, then I think I could.
But it wasn't him, man. It was James Earl Jones in that page boy cut. So you got to first you have to become black and get a page boy, and then you can start a cult.
Oh damn! Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Did anybody else find it unusual that during the circular orgy scene that James Earl Jones turned into a snake, and the only thing seemingly to notice his change was the leopard?
Well, animals are very astute.
I'll say that effect totally held up as far as I'm concerned. Like,
Actually, it really did. Yeah.
yeah,
It did.
better than some of the CGI you see from like 10 years ago. That particular effect looked really good.
Well, that effect was better than just about anything they did in Conan the Destroyer.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying, like, effect-wise. I mean,
Did you watch that one too?
no.
I have that one memorized. I have all the.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I've seen both of them like dozens of times each.
Okay, so the leopard notices James Earl Jones. Yeah, and the change was good. I mean, they did the transition. Oh, look at the leopard. Leopard goes, oh my god.
Yeah, but everybody else.
Does nobody else see that?
Everybody else was too easy or too busy, like having sex and eating bones and skull soup.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's why I say they didn't notice, because every time
It
I'm eating human soup, I don't know what the hell's going on around me.
Well, apparently when they make the human soup, they make it out of whiteout.
Less calories.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
you've got the cast of a Gautier video sneaking through.
That's Pat right there, our biggest fan.
That was funny. That was good.
So the leopard. So then we have this fight break out, and
Now I'm just imagining the 3 of them singing as someone that I used to know as they're like breaking into the castle. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Best weapon ever or worst weapon ever? The snake arrow.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
That was, and he got to use it twice too. And I especially liked it that the snake remains rigid after it hits the shield later on in the
yeah,
in the movie.
until you pull its head out of whatever it's stuck in. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a 1,000-year-old sorcerer, and his most commonly used spell is to make his snake rigid.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 1,000 years old, man. That's big.
You need all the help you can get.
And then the fight, the orgy donut. I didn't know what else to call it. It's just, I mean, there's something else I noticed. For that many theoretically naked people, there were no boobies.
Well, and
Huh.
back then apparently nudity only was boobs because there was a lot of loincloths covering everything else.
Okay.
And I killed it.
It begs the question: if you're like, think about this. If you're single, you guys not married, whatever. Do you go to the orgy if you have to eat human soup?
Is Gautier there?
Christ.
If he
Sorry.
is, then
Just-
no.
I don't know.
just for sake, let's just say they are.
Orgies are fun.
Wow, this took a weird turn. So the guy with the hammer, one half of the Allman Brothers band.
Thor? Oh, the other guy with the hammer. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big, not Thor, the guy who's got the giant log on a stick.
One of the 2 guys who inexplicably doesn't age 20 years.
Right.
When he takes a swing at that pillar, cracks it open, and the pillar falls over. And then it's maybe 2 seconds long. You see the guy, he looks at the hammer with this incredibly quizzical look on his
Yeah.
face, and then looks at the pillar like, did I do that?
Yeah. Like, wow, I didn't know I could do that.
Oh, it's...
That, and I was too busy wondering if Conan was sitting around with some other warriors and they're like, dude, I like totally train in the octagon. He's like, I train in the circle, in the sphere. So
I was going to say also the final battle at the
with all of
stones.
the stakes sticking out that fell over as soon as you touched them.
Yeah.
They really didn't try very hard.
Yeah, they didn't really pierce
No.
anything.
No.
They
You could roll a
more
horse
just an
down that hill.
annoyance.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to get up this hill from all these sticks to walk
They've been
around.
stabbed. They're rolling down the hill. They're like, ow, I got a splinter.
Well, he spent all that time putting that giant spike up there.
Right.
Right. Well, and they had to have that montage. It was like, okay, we're gonna remake the Seven Samurai, but with 2.
2 and the sorcerer, the magician.
So you guys each got to do 3.5 times the work that you normally would.
You know, thinking
Very
about it, did Conan ever once really commit a heroic or unselfish act throughout the course of the entire movie?
He gave the what's her name that stone, but he was just trying to get in her pants.
Right.
So,
And she sacrifices herself for him after he gets crucified. Subutai saves the princess, jumping in front of the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conan's just basically this dude.
He's just a big meathead. He just kind of swinging his sword and killing things.
Yeah, he just manages to attract people that are able to do things. So then we have the battle at the stones, which leads up to the most anticlimactic boss fight ever. 1,000-year-old sorcerer. He had nothing to pull. I mean, he couldn't pull the rigid snake trick on Conan while he's up there.
I
He tried to just mess with his head.
I think the symbolism of it is they're supposed to, it's kind of like the seeing the emperor in his without his clothes. They're just basically saying, hey, he's supposed to be this amazing guy, and it turns out he's just a human after all.
Well, how did he turn into a snake?
and then level 42 played. Pat got it.
Okay. And Pat's down for the count.
Oh Jesus! No, you had me stumped there for a second. I was like, oh yeah, he did turn into a snake. We just talked about it.
Yeah, he turned into a snake,
Yeah.
but I mean,
This-
even James Earl Jones was like the equivalent to Conan. He didn't really. I mean, he shot an arrow. That was it.
I think
And-
I don't know. Maybe he just it was kind of like he himself thought he was invincible, and he was surprised when a sword cut his head off.
It was a big surprise when he died,
Yeah,
especially for him.
Yes.
But I mean, even when they invaded his palace the second time, while they're all sneaking in, he just sort of randomly turns into a snake and scoots away.
And by the way,
Granted,
I hate to digress here, but one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is just when James Earl Jones says, "You killed my pet." It just made me laugh.
Okay, so James Earl Jones dies.
Yes, he's surprised the I'm your real father bit didn't take.
Yeah, luckily they tried that later in another movie.
Right.
Worked much better,
Um,
actually. It was a little independent movie, though. Nobody saw it.
Yeah, he gets his head hacked off. That was pretty visceral.
Yeah.
And then I guess all the cultists are kind of like, well, thanks. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for the torch. We'll go now. It's-
Nobody else steps up and goes, "Hey, wait a minute, I'll take over."
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Well, I guess we're done."
Turn in your torch, everybody. Time to pack it in.
Yeah.
I hear there's
Snake
a
dude's
cult
gone.
leader down the road that's looking for help.
Yeah, he's turns into a llama. He's not really quite as cool.
They're like, well, my resume, I'm good at following, so
No, keep moving.
Don't make eye contact.
Yeah, it's thumb up or thumb down on 82.
Oh, thumbs up for me.
Really?
you're a little
Yeah.
biased.
Well, of course I'm biased.
Yeah.
It's an Arnold movie.
You liked Eraser.
Yeah, I own 2 copies of it. I don't
Exactly.
want to lose one.
Right. Dude, I've got
Why
to see
restrain
Eraser.
yourself? Josh, what do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down for
Big
1982?
thumbs up. I mean, mainly, one of the things I realized after thinking about the movie for a little bit is, yeah, it's a dumb action flick, but when you talk about like the hero's journey, the classic, what they call the monomyth, they actually followed every single step. And I'm not going to go into that because this is a podcast, not a like English lit classroom. But you look at like he encountered the woman as goddess, woman as betrayer. He even had the like confronting your daddy issues and raising yourself from the dead and journey through the underworld. For a dumb Schwarzenegger flick from the early 80s, the fact that they actually hit all of those classic mythic hero points along the way and made a consistent story out of it, I was actually impressed at how well it held up, especially considering I didn't think it was going to about 20 minutes into it.
No, but I see what Josh is saying. I would give it a
Yeah,
thumbs up.
definitely. I agree with him. Is my point. I think.
For 1982, considering what it is an epic story that, despite some pacing issues and everything else, it actually was better than a lot of the stuff that was out at the same time, and did surprisingly hold up to some regard. I could have done without Sandel Bergman, but Other than that,
Bite your tongue.
I found it worthwhile.
What? Well, I mean, and I think honestly, I have to say that it grew on me closer to the end. Also, I was not expecting to enjoy it. Like I said, the first quarter of the movie, I was kind of, oh my god, I can't believe I'm watching this type of thing. But and Josh, what you were saying about the travels of the hero, it does make sense. So,
But couldn't they find a horse for the love of God instead of running everywhere?
They were in incredible shape.
They were afterwards.
well, yeah, I mean, he didn't need a horse. He had those legs.
Warrior needs food badly.
Walking in a circle. All right, so there we go. So we have 4 thumbs up on Conan the Barbarian, 1982.
Incidentally, IMDb, you were using that as a reference, 6.8 out of 10.
6.8 out of 10. I guess that means one of us has to dislike it now.
No, it won't be me.
No.
6.8 seems about right as far as I'm concerned. It was decent, but there were some cheesy moments in there. It's
Right.
definitely not a 9 out of 10 for me.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, there we go. 4 thumbs up on Conan the Barbarian, 1982. We're going to take a little break here, and then we're going to come back.
Free test in the computer lab. Never went to class, cause that shit was a drag. Back in the day, shut the fuck, cafe, bet our ads getting paid, ICQ getting made. Back in the day, we knew Zulu was game, bunch of numbers running loads.
All right, 40 going on 14. We're back. It's Mike, Josh, Joel, and Pat. And we just discussed the 1982 version of Conan the Barbarian, and now we're updating it with the 2011 version.
Oh, God.
And
Let's give a little bit of history here real quick. As I mentioned on the first one, was the director of Red Dawn. This version is Marcus Nispel, who originally was a music video director that Michael Bay found and decided he wanted to use for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And incidentally, he went on to direct the Friday the 13th remake as well. And so, if that gives you a little idea. I mean, I didn't think those were terrible.
So this guy's job is just to sodomize our childhood all the time by remaking all these movies?
Where did Michael Bay find him, and can we put him back there?
Who, Michael Bay? Not without a lot of explosions. And possibly Transformers.
all right, so this one, Conan the Barbarian, directed by Marcus Nispel, and written by 4 people, 2 more people than the original.
None of which were Oliver Stone.
None of which were Oliver Stone. You can tell because this movie's only, an hour and a half long?
No, it was an hour. It was an hour,
yeah.
almost 2 hours. Just shy.
112
Oh, really?
minutes. Yeah. One
Oh, yeah, look at that. 5.1 rating, star rating. What was the other things you said the director did?
Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Friday 13th, He did a movie called Pathfinder.
Oh, Pathfinder, I remember that.
This one was starring Jason Momoa, or as I like to call him,
Jason Momoa.
No,
He's orangey and fizzy.
he yeah. I may forget what I was gonna say. Damn you, Mike.
Jason Momoa.
Oh, he was the rock off. They couldn't get the rock, so they got Jason Momoa, who's just a rock off. There we go. That's the joke I was going.
Okay.
He
Note
does.
to self, interrupt him more.
They look like they could be relatives.
Jason Momoa and The Rock?
Yeah, one's Samoan, one's Hawaiian. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Okay, so
It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad to me, and this is my take on this entire movie, that the best thing I have to say about this movie is that the actor,
It ended?
the main actor who played the main character, is in a series that I really love, being Game of Thrones, and that's all
they're
I
going to
can say
say
about
Baywatch.
No,
and
that's all I can say about this movie is that the actor is in a series that I like. That's it.
Well, he's not the only one. His buddy, the pirate, was Zaro Zoan Daxos.
Was he really?
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, two Game of Thrones alumni in this.
And
we'll just
all
go
I
with
can say
film.
for it.
Yes.
No, don't say film
in
is a
this-
good reference. Movie or
in this
flip.
animated series of pictures. Okay, one positive about this, it had Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ron Perlman makes everything better.
He's kind of doing the walking thing where he's signing up for just about anything now.
He's the shotgun method of acting, the Steve
that's what
Buscemi
he's
school.
doing. Yeah, everything
I'll take
I look
everything.
at, Ron Perlman is in.
Well,
now.
but he's getting older. He's trying to get his, himself out there as much as possible before he's no longer, bankable.
What, you think his SAG card is going to run out or something?
Well, the more he sag, the less it does.
I think he made a better dad than the first one, though.
He got a lot more screen time, that's for sure.
And
Well, yeah, it's not like we had a lot of stuff to go on for the 82 version.
The 82 version, all we knew about him was he didn't like being eaten by dogs.
can I say one thing about this real quick, just as an overall thought that
I hope not, because we have a bunch of time we got to.
No, the whole time I was watching this, I kept saying, okay, I'm not against remakes. I'm in the school that I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do, however, think that calling this Conan the Barbarian, they should have, since the whole story was completely more or less different than the 82 one, they should have just made it another adventure and had like a part of the series, because it would have fit in better.
Yeah, that's actually something that I was going to discuss. It's like, I don't know why they called this a Conan movie.
Well, if they would have called it Conan the Invader or Conan the Constipator.
Conan the Constipator.
Something other than Conan the Barbarian, then it might have fit in the mythos somewhere, and you could have been like, oh, okay, I could...
Conan the Cross-Stitcher.
Right.
Son of Conan, Electric Boogaloo.
There you go.
There you go.
He's saving the community center, and,
Another thing that I found is, I don't know if your kids watch this show, Joel, but the young Conan...
No.
Leo Howard is also in a TV show that my kids watch called Kickin' It.
No.
And that was kind of weird because he's, it's this Disney-esque, Disney comedy set in a kung fu dojo. And he's one of the kids there. So that was kind of weird for me. It's to initially see him, bashing people's heads in with skulls. I mean, bashing with stones and all that. But
was it me, or did everybody's head break way too easy in that movie?
I swear that everybody in this world is made of water balloons filled with fake blood.
Yeah, you know how babies have the soft spot on their head? Well, all these guys, their whole head was soft spot.
Especially the one, the monk.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like he just basically just bitch slaps him and his head just falls off.
And this giant spurt of blood, no matter what.
Well, it's being directed by a guy who is kind of got to start in horror, so.
Yeah.
True. So there's a lot of CGI blood.
I was going to say real quick, another thing about this movie that bothered me was that they kept calling it, instead of Conan, they kept calling him Conan.
Well, nowadays,
really?
That's the accepted pronunciation with red hair.
And it drove me nuts. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway,
I can see you screaming at the screen every time somebody says that too.
Let's take it from the beginning.
Okay, egg in the mouth.
I actually had hope for the movie at first when I saw that little kid kicking ass like he did.
Absolutely.
To some extent.
They had me on board at the beginning with I thought the whole intro was better, and I was going into this prepared to play devil's advocate, not going to automatically assume, okay, what I thought was cool when I was a kid is better, and the new one sucks just because.
No, I mean that's what I was initially walking into this too. With I watched this one first and came out of this going that wasn't that bad, and it wasn't until the end of it, and until I saw the 82 version, I realized that the 2011 version is pretty much just the plot of a video game. He's got the mini bosses, he's got the journey, he's got the main boss at the end, he's got the quick time events, and I really was disappointed with this one more after I saw the first one.
I'll tell you, they lost me at a very particular point near the beginning, and I was on board with the movie up to that point.
Which was?
Okay, right after we swapped to older Conan, he's Jason Momoa, and they attack the village. They go through actually pretty cool fight scenes. I have no complaints overall about the fight choreography or any of that. It all looks good.
I know where you're going.
And then they save all of the slaves, and then for about 5 seconds, the topless female slaves are terrified of what's going to happen with the barbarians. And it's like, well, what do we do? And he grabs her aggressively, and then they all scream yay like spring break has just started.
And then Rodney Dangerfield walks in and goes, "Hey, we're all getting laid."
It was at that point I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
I do remember that being Dangerfield or Harry Carey? It was more of a Harry. Hey.
I do remember that being a very odd tone shift. I noticed. Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, they did. There was, and there was actually. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, when I was going back and checking something, there was one dude in like the standard cloth hat that has just got this look on his face like, what?
Well, I actually heard a couple of them say, dude, there's a guy down the road that sounds like Darth Vader that can turn into a snake. Maybe we should go head that way.
A snake guy.
No, I thought you were going to talk about where he's trying to catch up to the princess chick, whatever she was, to Rachel Nichols' character, and the stagecoach thing flips in slow motion. I thought that's where you were going to go.
Oh, but that was we'll call that strike 2.
Okay, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, yeah, there's no way that physically would happen.
Yeah, that was kind of silly. That was, but
I was amazed it didn't blow up in a giant explosion.
Conan is being tested. A bunch of Native Americans with animal growls attack. They kill. Well, he kills them.
Oh, Joel, you're Skyping. Oh my God, it's getting worse every time.
Did someone feed Joel after midnight?
Man, that won't work on him. We know he can't grow hair now.
Don't put me in a microwave.
You sound better now. I don't think you are better now, but I think
you lead, Mike.
He was starting to sound like his picture.
You lead. I'll fill in.
My tuba. Okay, young Conan. Did anybody else laugh when the fat guy lost his nose?
That's always a laugh riot.
I mean, that's just like,
I think
he took off my nose. And his freaky ass daughter.
Yeah, that was she was weird.
Well, I think that's a Marcus and Spell thing because he had when Leatherface took off his mask in the first of the remake, he had the same thing. He was
a daughter.
No, his nose missing. His nose was missing, just like that.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. So.
I actually thought that the daughter was more interesting in her young incarnation before she became just another androgynous H.R. Geiger-esque like S&M knockoff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
completely. I liked her better younger, but that should be no surprise to anybody.
And now we have that recorded.
As soon as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, "Oh God."
That's another restraining order.
Yeah. Ding dong, NSA calling. Yeah, she was much better as a kid. Well, I mean, when she decided to shave half her head.
Yeah, she looked very much like
airbrush makeup.
She looked very much like the Borg Queen. Is what she reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, either that or a roadie for a Marilyn Manson concert. So, but yeah, freaky ass daughter.
Dude, you got your hair pulled back too tight.
How did you get your forehead that big? So, death of Conan's dad. Did you guys, I mean, compared to getting eaten by Rottweilers?
It was badass. I was still on board at that point.
Yeah, I think the first half an hour, I was good with it until he started growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I actually went to this movie expecting to like it because I liked Pathfinder, and I quickly turned. I think even before you guys did, because when he killed all those people at the beginning, I was just like, oh, come on.
Well, I mean, he's Conan. I mean, I can forgive that because he's supposedly this warrior, child of a warrior tribe, and the tribe itself, when they were in the very beginning and they're fighting, you know, it's not like they look like a bunch of farmers in the '82 version. They look like some kid that may pick stuff up just by watching other people practice and fighting with the other kids.
Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Can I? The moment that I started losing faith in this movie was honestly when everybody was all gathered up and the guy was, the father was talking about the challenge, and Conan comes running up late, all like, oh, I'm precocious and crazy and I'm late to the, and I was like, okay, no, he's not Dennis.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when Ron Perlman lifted up Conan and he started singing "Circle of Life."
Yeah, and Elton John just comes out of nowhere. Like, what?
Elton John the Sumerian. That's fantastic. That guy's fur is really sparkly. That's another thing. Ron Perlman's hair, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was.
He looked like a shrub. Anyway, face melting seems like a rough way to die.
Yeah.
Cast iron steel, and there was seemingly less about the sword in this one than there was in the '82 version, because it seems like every other comment in the '82 version was about the strength of steel and you stand by your steel. And this one, it was kind of like, hey, that's my dad's sword. I'm going to get that back eventually.
And I think Ron Perlman is the only person to ever bring up Crom, and he brings it up like once.
No, Conan says it right almost at the very last fight scene. He says, "Oh, Crom."
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And see, that's kind of just disappointing too, Josh, because it's Crom is like, carries over in all the stories. I mean, he's in this one. It seems like he doesn't have any allegiance to Crom whatsoever. But from what I understand in the books, Crom is like, he holds on to that. Is that true?
Well, I mean, Crom's a god, but he's a god that doesn't require a whole lot of veneration. I mean, you want to worship Crom, you start killing dudes. So.
Well, all right.
Conan's pretty much the Pope. That would explain the funny hat and the white robe scene.
Yeah, funny hats. How about the Wait, what?
I was just gonna say, just talking about what you guys said reminded. The way I felt this whole movie was, it almost felt to me like it was not a, like we said earlier, not a Conan movie. It was just like a movie that was written for something else, and then it was just kind of turned into a Conan movie. Like, we'll throw in a couple references to Crom, we'll throw in some Sumerian blah 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 blah. And that's just what it felt like to me.
Yeah, it seemed like they did a search and replace for the word Conan on the on the script.
Exactly.
No, I do agree with you. I mean, this one just because it could have easily been a barbarian's tale or whatever.
The two barbarians.
Story.
Oh God! Yeah,
Oh God, we got to watch that.
No, we don't.
That is
once is enough.
That is still to this day the worst movie I've ever seen in the theater.
Oh, Pat.
In a theater. Okay,
Yeah.
he said in the theater, meaning he paid for it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Wow.
you need to come over and hang out more often.
No.
Yeah.
In a theater, I sat with popcorn and a soda and watched that movie.
And the popcorn and soda left.
Dude, this sucks. We're out of here.
Anyway, just another Conan thing. Boobies everywhere.
There was less.
You think so?
There was far less boobage in this.
All right. I mean, I'm
tell
grateful for anything I could see.
that main actress had a nice set of boobies on her.
Yes.
Rachel Nichols,
Okay,
I think that was a body double. I don't think that was her.
Oh darn.
Yeah, they did that. It is in the trivia that she actually did do a body double. And other trivia, Conan is afraid of horses in this movie. Whenever you saw him on a horse, it was either a mock-up or a body double.
Oh, Jason Momoa is afraid of horses?
Yes, which makes sense for Game of Thrones because he's surrounded by horses all the time.
Yeah. No kidding. I bet he got over that fear pretty quick.
Here's his wad of cash. Can you get over being
Yeah,
afraid of
exactly.
horses? Yeah, that's also in the trivia. Then the body double is also in there. There isn't a heck of a lot of trivia for this one.
No, it wasn't a very good movie. Can we call him Jason Mimosa for the rest of the show?
There
I already
it
did.
is. There it is.
Oh.
Jason Momoa. People who were supposed to play Conan's father already.
Samuel L. Jackson.
No,
Christopher Walken.
Dolph Lundgren.
What?
Oh, I could see that.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Now the second one really scares me. Mickey Rourke.
Dude, did you get hit by a frying pan?
I
No.
I don't know how.
You know who they should have got? Mickey Rooney.
Jiminy
Jiminy
Jillikers.
Willikers. There's your sword over there. Also, what are some of the other? Brett Ratner was originally supposed to
Do
direct.
you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Nobody understands the words that are coming out of your mouth, Conan.
Kelly and Lutz and Jared, these two other people who I don't know. Kellen Lutz, who is he? He
I know that name.
Well, Lutz is tied with
Oh.
Amityville, but that may be where.
Yeah,
No, it was George.
Breaking
Lutz.
Breaking Dawn. He was in that. That was the Twilight movies. And Jared Paccadelli.
Padalecki
That too.
from
Jared Padalecki from
Supernatural. Thank you.
Oh God.
And the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, that might not have been too bad.
As what?
As Conan.
No, he's not big enough.
You don't think so?
No. Oh,
They should
Okay.
have got John Cena.
no.
Boy, you live in Texas, don't you?
Dude, you know who'd make a good Conan?
They should have got Steve Austin.
They should have got Diamond Dallas Page.
He could have poured beer all over them peoples.
For the half the movie, I initially thought that the bad guy was the priest from Fifth Element.
What?
Not the one from the very beginning.
Ian Holm
The one
was
that
like a
poison.
quarter of that guy's size.
Aziz Light? That guy?
Aziz Light, yeah. No, not the professor. The priest who comes in at that time.
Ian
Multipass.
Holm.
Multipass.
So you had going on. So then they rescue all the slaves. They all run off with
spring break,
Clifford. Absolutely. Yeah, spring break, hooray! Now we all go to this pub where Conan wins a arm wrestling contest by the most dick move ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spit a mouthful of meat in your face while you're wrestling him. And I think his response of clocking him was, which I'm surprised Conan's head just didn't pop after when he punched him.
Right.
Oh,
That was
yeah, I got it now. Yeah.
the theme of the
All right.
movie.
And never invite guys with eye patches to parties because they ruin the whole thing. That guy showed up and everything went to hell.
Yeah, but he proved to be useful.
Yeah, later on. But no, so then Conan gets himself captured on purpose.
Right,
Go
because he
after the man
recognized
with
Mr.
no
No-Nos.
Not a Bond villain.
No.
You expect me to die, Mr. No-Nose?
I'm just imagining like some like little kid character. He's like, it's kind of like the poison guy, Mr. No-No.
That's my uncle's nickname.
Mr. No-Nose.
Hide the pennies?
So
That's what I'm
follows
gonna
it back.
call that's what I'm gonna call my clown alter ego, Mr. No-Nose.
No clowns.
Mr. No-Nose and the Bad Touch, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, they rock. Their first album is great.
I don't know if I would go see that, actually. Okay, so he goes to this prison, and in 20 minutes starts an entire riot, just because. It doesn't say. I mean, he sits down and immediately takes over immediately.
Well, sure.
And
He identifies the fop straight from central casting. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to be able to, like, breathe hard and knock you over.
I've read
And
this
because he's
script. I
throwing
know
meat.
what happens.
and he finds the Mr. No-Nose torturing a guy in the room. And did any of you think that guy recovered pretty damn quickly from having spikes drilled into his wrists?
He was
The guy,
Wolverine, perhaps. The early years.
I don't know. That's one thing. It was like this guy in one instance he's got his wrists strapped inside this torture device, and those spikes were pretty damn big. They were like 2.5 inches long. Doing that, and next thing you know, he's like, "Yeah, take him. He knows what he's talking about." And he's just becoming the strategist with Conan on getting out of that place.
He's a master thief who doesn't need his hands because he uses a bunch of keys. Isn't that cheating?
Should they call him a locksmith?
I remember that at the end. It was, let's just pick the lock. I dropped the keys.
Mr. No-Nose, I'd like you to meet Mr. Keys.
Why does anybody
I'm
get
a
to me
thief.
flat? I'm a thief. I stole these keys from the janitor.
No, you're not. You work at Home Depot.
Then they cut to the.
Don't forget the finger in the nose bit.
Oh,
yeah.
that was. Yeah.
I cringed.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, oh, crom.
Well, somebody had to. God knows he wasn't. So we have that. He escapes, and they head out to. They're looking for the pureblood. Is that the word they use?
Yeah, they're heading for the pure blood.
Yeah, they're looking for the pureblood. So they go over to the monastery.
The monastery
And they're wearing-
of the funny hats.
Yes, the table hats. That's where you put your tea. And then they pop the main monastery dude's head. And then Joel, was that you?
Yeah.
And then they have the I don't know, the daughter puts on her Marilyn Manson act and tastes everybody's blood and can tell. But then she says that she can smell the pure blood when she's around later. So I'm wondering why she just didn't bother sniffing them.
It's not as dramatic. And I just have to say, I used to hate Rose McGowan. You guys may remember this, the Greg Araki classic Doom Generation. And I literally wanted to strangle her. And then over the years, and especially after Planet Terror, I've grown to be a fan. But this movie, she was seriously miscast and did not belong in this film in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they needed. I'm sorry, I was just going to say they needed Thora Birch.
I've always kind of viewed Rose McGowan as sort of the poor man's Parker Posey. I mean,
Say that 10 times fast.
I may have that backwards, but they've always kind of played similar characters, and I've just thought that Rose McGowan was a lesser actress.
She's got to be in the right role, and it's not the right role.
Don't think so?
No.
Was there a right role?
That's true.
Because
I don't know. I mean, because it's the psychotic daughter.
I don't know if anybody could have saved that role.
The little girl from the beginning?
Well, they would have had to wait for her to grow up.
Well, no, I mean, some explanation.
Well, they could have sped it up if they just put her on a wheel.
They're like,
right. Had her walk in circles for a few hours.
She comes out looking like China.
It's like, wow, that went wrong.
What
This is what happens when you don't set a timer.
She would look big and red and look like.
Wait,
what?
Joel? What? Joel turned into a gremlin again.
I hate this.
So we haven't mentioned my least favorite character in the movie, Tamara.
Conan?
Who?
The love interest.
Rachel Nichols.
Oh, Tamara?
Oh my God.
Completely useless, other than her breastises.
Conan!
Well, she tried to be useful at the end. She gave her standard, I'm not anybody's property,
Right.
statement.
I'm a
She
strong,
kept going,
independent monk who
"Conan."
don't need no man.
Now save my life again.
Yeah, she kept
Yeah,
yelling
please.
for help.
Yeah.
What? Are you playing Pong?
Sounds like there's a clown running around with big honking shoes.
It's Dr. No-Nose.
You said his name 3 times. He's here now.
Mr. Nose.
And the rest of Joel's review of Conan 2011 will be made in a series of fart noises.
It's Mute the clown. And Pat.
It's okay, we've lost Pat too.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
so, and a bad guy in this movie,
Yes.
Color Zim or James Earl Jones.
Oh, James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, definitely.
Well, I have to ask.
Well,
you know,
did I miss something? How did he suddenly show up with, like, dozens of scratches on his face? Like he'd been sleeping with 10 cats in his face. What happened there?
Color Zim.
It looked like they were over-explaining stuff to me, because it looked like every time Conan got a shot in the early scenes, it was represented by this horrid scar. Every little drip of molten steel was a big-ass scar on adult Conan's face. It's like, we don't need the origin story of, like, every accessory of every character.
I thought he was trying to be Vanilla Ice.
Nobody tries to be Vanilla Ice.
Not even
I don't even know what
Ice.
that means. Okay, Color Zim weapon. Double sword weapon is stupid.
Yeah.
The attached at the hilt, spinning it around type of thing.
Maybe that's how he got the scars. Training. He was training.
It's sword chucks.
Cowabunga, dude.
Kalar, you put those things down, man. Seriously, you're not. Oh man, it's cool. The chicks are gonna love this one. All right, so he's got the double swords. I thought the Sandman battle was pretty cool.
Yeah, except for they kept doing this like, we don't want to use a woman as a damsel in distress, so we will technically show her as a badass for a couple seconds, despite the fact that we've established she lived in a monastery and had no combat training, and then we'll go back to her shrieking for help.
As these things leap from the ground 20 feet in the air.
And, like, they were either indestructible or they were just completely fragile.
Right.
Because she fell down the same flight that the sand guy did, and he fell apart, and she just got up and, like, brushed herself off.
Yeah.
Well, and eventually it's like they just ran out of waves of dudes.
Yeah.
So time for the boss fight.
There was lots more sand there.
Yeah,
She ran out of
kind of
mana.
yeah.
You're a dork.
It was cheap.
Yeah, she was a sorceress, and was that the only spell she really cast besides like doing weird things with her eyes and licking blood? I don't think those are spells.
I can't
No,
really think
no,
of
that's just
anything
I think that's just a lifestyle choice. She had the poison. I mean, there was like that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but I mean that wasn't like a spell.
Could have been magic poison.
She could taste blood and tell if you were a pure blood or not.
Yeah, but she could have just been yanking everybody too. Oh no, this isn't her. Maybe she's her.
She's
Maybe
capable.
the one they spirited out in a carriage 5 minutes ago is her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah,
So-
they're all so surprised. Like, nope, must be the one that got away. Duh.
Her
Best
other
death
power
in the
is
show?
her other power is generating a very large forehead.
Yes.
I've got that power.
I think the sending a message shoved in the mouth of the henchman who's tied to the rock who you're about to catapult into your boat. Why are they carrying this boat around with them everywhere?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that.
it be?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say that made zero sense.
They didn't want to forget where they parked.
The docking fees are just a bitch.
Well, yeah, all the permits, all.
Might as well just bring it with. Get the elephants.
Well, it's kind of impressive if you're like in completely dry dock. There's no water for miles, and all of a sudden this boat crashes through your wall. That is kind of a message. You're like, whoa!
I was thinking that at the monastery. I was like, that is a hell of an entrance.
I mean, if you want to, I mean,
Why didn't we build the fortress walls to withstand a ship in the middle of this desert?
What were you
Yeah.
thinking, Jimmy? I don't know.
Well, you see, we showed up and we talked to the harbor master, and he said that he didn't have any paperwork on us, so we'd just have to pick up the boat and walk it in.
Dude, this is a bad neighborhood.
we don't want to. We don't want to leave the boat here.
Beep, beep.
Come back
Better
and
bring
the
it with.
boat's up on blocks.
What are the boats on blocks? What did they steal?
All the
Ancient
oars.
Sumerian RV. We don't have the wheel yet. Just bring the boat.
Boat's stupid.
Yes.
Unanimous on that one. Good.
And they did the stupid, like, zoom in on his face for comic effect as he's being catapulted in that they're constantly doing in modern action movies.
Yes.
Yeah, that was kind
Like
of
that.
dumb.
Like they attached a GoPro to his chest before they launched it. So you got that. He gets tossed in. They get the note. Meet me here.
As an aside, since we brought up the ship and everything and the whole, him crashing through, did anybody else think they were really going to follow through with the whole incest plot? Because
For a second.
yeah, because I was like, they're really not going to do this, are they?
I really hope that they didn't have that like initially on the horizon, because I think that would have made the whole thing really weird.
Yeah.
So final battle. A lot more going on than
We're just
James
cutting
Earl
right to the end.
Yeah, I mean, because I can't even remember past the boat. I don't even recall much of what happened after that. I mean, it was just, I think I faded out after that.
There was lots of CGI blood, some muscles rippling,
Yeah, because then they went and they jumped off the cliff back into the boat, and then they got attacked.
Yeah, the pirate attack.
Yes, which by all rights, that woman should be dead. Because there's no way she could have lifted that sword to defend herself whatsoever.
It's just like a mini claymore. She could handle it.
Mini claymore.
Dude, if she could take on Conan, she could lift that.
Yeah.
So you got that. Then they ship off. They go. Then here he forgot his map. Wink, wink,
And
nudge,
his
nudge.
condoms.
And his Barry White CD.
So then that happens, and she immediately gets captured afterwards.
Well, of course.
Yeah, because that whole crowd was just like, wait, should we attack them?
They had a knack for finding her, though, didn't they? No GPS or anything. They're like, dude, I know right where she's at. Let's go.
Well, that's why the daughter shaved her head that far back, because she got a better reception for the blood GPS
There you go.
without the hair in the way. You didn't see her head lighten up like that? Had a little arrow on there.
She also gets serious on there, too.
Yeah.
At the ruined Colosseum, turn left.
Then he hunts her down again. I'm not going to be your mom. I'm going to turn you into my mom. Final battle lasts 10, 15 minutes.
Well, okay, and the bad guy, you had all of these barbarian tribes breaking up the mask and spreading it all across the world, because if it comes back together and gets activated, that's horrible. It was really just a funny hat.
Yeah, it really didn't do anything at first.
Like a dried squid with batteries.
And it was just weird to me that like, we don't even tell any of the story. He just magically has 9/10 of the hat all of a sudden. Like, we just need this one last piece. I mean, I thought there was a great story that they could have told in a different movie that wasn't a Conan movie.
Do you know how many boxes of cereal he had to eat to get those other pieces?
When we were, Suzanne was watching it with me, and in the very beginning where he says, you won't find a piece. I've got 9 of the 10 pieces, and then Ron Perlman replies, the rest of the tribes will come back and hunt you down, after they discover what you've done.
Yeah.
And Suzanne goes, no, they won't. They're all dead. He's got 9 of the other pieces.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. He's obviously wiped them out.
Yeah, that's kind of an empty threat there. He's pretty sure. I thought the battle, for a quote-unquote action movie, the final battle was pretty cool.
It was a little Pirates of the Caribbean-ish, though, when they're fighting on the wheel that she's trapped in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
hated that.
fun.
And then everything starts collapsing.
Should we tell Joel that we can't hear him?
No, we'll just
Now he's a gremlin again.
just mute him.
He's rolling.
Then everything starts collapsing.
And if you're doing this incantation to bring your evil wife back from the dead into the body of this person, why would you hang her above a giant hole?
That's a good point.
See, that was the plot hole.
Oh,
That's what that was.
Oh well, I'm glad they had one of those.
Well, we couldn't get past it eventually. It had to show up.
That's his fan. He comes back. He's like, oh, I remember why you're dead. So he just lets her go.
Yeah. Then there's the evil daughter dies after hunting down the inept fighting monk.
Yeah, and once again, she's a sorcerer. So what does she do? She gets into a punch-up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that too. I was like, why would you decide now is the time to get into a scrap?
Summon some of
Yeah.
those sands or something.
Magic missile.
Yeah,
Something.
anything. Yeah.
Magic
It's like
missile.
if this is a WoW raid, you'd be like, why are you up there right up in the front? Fire something. Summon something. Apparently all sorcery is back then is just being able to taste people's blood.
And that's why a lot of people die of a lot of disease.
Don't know what he meant there, but I agree.
I think I completely understand.
I don't know.
I think a lot of people died from also.
I said that's why they died of a lot of diseases.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go. It was you turned into a scene from the Jetsons there for a second.
They died of.
Oop.
Yeah, I wish I had more to say about this one, but I've got more notes and everything on the
Well, then they
on the second.
magically the collapsing everything,
Okay.
and then you think they're gonna ride off together, and he's just like, "See you later, baby."
I got to go.
He was like, yeah, I'm gone.
And the Mark
Thanks.
Tucker song kicks in.
Have fun with my baby.
Yeah.
I'm as free as a bird now.
So, okay, two things that I hated about this movie. Again, two more things, rather.
Two more. Okay.
One of them being, why is Conan wearing a skirt?
This is
I mean,
samurai.
Yeah,
Hang
that
on.
just drove me nuts. I mean, he shouldn't be wearing a kilt. But the big one that really got me is, why is Conan suddenly into parkour? Like, every fight, he's like rolling over tables and jumping off of walls, and it just was too much. It was too modern fighting style.
You didn't know about the ancient tribe of parkour barbarians? I don't know. Yeah, it was a little bouncy.
Yeah.
So, but no, I have to. Oh,
It just seemed like the entire movie was constantly insulting the audience's collective intelligence. Just let's explain every little detail. Let's have people stand around talking about the plot. Where the original was like, we're going to show you and we're not going to explain everything. But by the end of the 2 hours in the Schwarzenegger flick, you knew what happened. You weren't confused. This one, we're going to tell you constantly all these details, and you realize at the end that none of them mattered.
Right. I agree fully. I mean, I just... The whole time I felt like it was just a meandering story that wasn't even really going anywhere in particular.
well, I mean, and then in the very beginning when they after they rescue all the slaves,
Spring break.
what's his name? Yes, after Spring Break, and then Artist stands up and is like, he was just this little thing when I found him, but he was the one who killed the sorcerer, whatever. And did he say stole the elephant's hat? That's
Damn you, Babar.
That's what I heard. I heard him say, this is the
That
one who stole the
explains-
elephant's hat.
I
That
have
explains
no
why he's
idea what
Conan
he
the
said, but-
Barbarian. Because he stole Babar's hat.
Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian.
He stole
I thought
his
he
hat.
slew the sorcerer of something. I don't know.
Pet elephant.
Something about an elephant.
Yeah, I was okay. At least he said elephant on there. Good. Because to me it sounded like he stole the elephant's hat. I cannot find. Not that I'm really looking for. Maybe it's in quotes. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna look in quotes.
So this one got a 5.1 out of 10, by the way.
I just realized the actual... I'm sorry, but I just realized the actual moment when I checked out on this movie, and it was right during the beginning when Morgan Freeman's voice started up. I was like, okay, no. Morgan Freeman does not belong in Conan.
I was hoping we were going to meet him as the sorcerer. How badass would that be?
that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
He comes just
Yeah, it
shambling
was the
down
summer
the
of
stairs.
'69 when I meant Conan.
Comes shambling down the stairs, whittling.
As it is, it was more like March of the Barbarians. Here we have the young Sumerian out with the eggs.
They run out and they return later. I mean, the egg thing was kind of cool. I would say if this was a TV show and the first half an hour was the intro to the TV show, I would watch it for the next couple episodes and then be sorely disappointed. But, it's outside of the first 20 minutes after Ron Perlman dies, and that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Okay. So I'm guessing universal thumbs down on that one?
I give it a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Give a collective meh.
That's 2 hours of my life I'm never getting back.
Thanks, Mike.
For me, it's $15 I'm never getting back. I got a Blu-ray of this shitty movie now.
You God. Oh, my God. It's on Netflix.
I don't have Netflix.
You could have saved yourself half of that and just subscribed to Netflix
You
for a
got
month.
a free
could've-
trial of Netflix for nothing.
Free.
Right, free.
I was hoping I was going to like it.
But now he's got it in high definition, so he can be like,
He's like,
Oh,
now I hate it on like a very sophisticated level.
right.
Like, look how beautiful this is while I hate it.
That's fantastic.
Now I've
The
got
cinematography-
15 hours
honestly,
of
the
special features.
cinematography was really nice. I mean, it looked good, but no, it's just a horrible movie.
Okay, the fight
Oh, yeah.
scenes were good. The fight scenes were actually better put together than the 1982. If we have to find something.
Oh yeah, the
Good to say.
choreography was better. Yes, the fight choreography was definitely better.
Well, I think we all agree if it wouldn't have been called Conan, it might have been an okay adventure movie.
Yeah, like if this had been Pathfinder 2 or something, I probably would have liked it a lot more.
I still would not have forgiven the constant exposition, all of the I'm not a damsel in distress. I'm a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man. Help me, Conan.
Right.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Spring break.
I mean, I definitely agree with all that. I'm overly troubled by the fact that they call it a Conan movie, though.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. If it had been like Lawrence the Barbarian.
Well, but we might get a spin-off.
Lawrence the Barbarian.
Lawrence, yeah.
We might get the Mr. No-No's movie. So,
No, I certainly hope not. I think Mr. No-No's would scare the hell out of me. So,
A penis puppet theater rendition of
Yeah.
No.
all right, so we got the Universal down on the on this one.
Yeah.
So
one instance
all right,
where the
so-
remake was not necessary. I believe in remake.
So that's our discussion on Conan the Barbarian 2011 back to 1982. Looks like Universal thumbs up on the 82 and 2011 bit it on everybody's scale. Yeah, pretty much. So if you want to look up more for 40 Going on 14, you can find us at 40go14.com. 40go14.com. We're also on Twitter. We have a Facebook page. Just search for us and you'll be able to find us in those places. And Josh, you've got some stuff going on too?
Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter. My own Twitter account is @DocStout. I also have YouTube and Twitch channels. YouTube, it's DocStout076. I'm DocStout on Twitch, where I'm streaming video games live, occasionally with Mike or with the help from my wife.
All right.
And my blog, What's Next, The Unemployed Geek, can find me there as well.
Very cool. And Joel, what have you got going on?
Well, I've got my 2 weekly podcasts, Undercover Unitards, you can find on iTunes, TalkShoe, Stitcher, etc., all the podcast directories. I've also got my other show. It's a solo show called the Sunshine Happy Pants Hour. Pants is spelled with a K at the beginning. That's silent. So just look at Pants. It'll come up with iTunes, etc., TalkShoe directories. I write a blog, A Momentary Lapse with Joel.blogspot.com. It's generally a movie review blog, but it also updates on my podcasting, and that's my current.
Awesome. Patrick, what have you got going?
Really nothing.
Well, all right then.
Yeah, I got the standard nothing going on in my life.
Patrick has just discovered Skype, so
A lot of masturbation
steps.
and crying.
Yes. Usually at the same time.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week. We are 40 Going on 14, and we'll talk to you guys next week, where we will be doing our own personal top 5 list of video games then and now. See you then. Thank you.